Studio. Time for us to go to the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team, Mississippi Farm Bureau. When we last visited with Zach Arnett, it was at SEC Media Days, and that was talking season. We've made it to practice season, and soon we'll have the season, and that's what we're all looking forward to. Head coach at Mississippi State, Zach Arnett, joins us right now. Coach, thanks so much for a few minutes of time. So 6 straight days to start things off. Today was the first off day. Is that right on the timeline?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, thanks for having me. Yep, 6 straight days of practice. That's kind of the NCAA acclimation period, right? 2 days in helmets, 3 days in shoulder pads and helmets, and then on your 6th day you can put on full pads. So did that yesterday, and now players have a much-deserved off day.
I was struck by how much you and Will Hall, the head coach at Southern Miss, sound alike in kind of talking to the media after practice, pointing out that, shorts and a helmet, that's not football. And so it's really hard to learn. But everybody trying to get to that point where you can get the pads on. What have you gotten accomplished so far in almost a week of practice?
Yeah, well, obviously, again, the NCAA has done some really good things that allow us to do some walkthroughs and some on-field stuff from a on-field learning walkthrough pace throughout the off season, and so you always feel like maybe you're a little further ahead than it used to be. Most of the guys come into training camp with a pretty good grasp of what the day one install is going to be. They've gone through it once or twice in off-season walkthroughs, but it's day one stuff, right? So you're going back through all your day one installs from the base assignment, alignment, what your keys are, where your eyes are supposed to be, everyday fundamentals. You start from ground zero, and then obviously you're working guys into shape because once you start putting on that football equipment, right, it's just a different kind of conditioning level than you get in the summer. And so that's kind of first 6 days, and you progress to hitting and playing football. And so we're far from a finished product. We need every practice we got remaining before the first game, but you're seeing development every day, and which is obviously what you want to see as a coach.
Yeah, camp is so different than, as you alluded to a second ago, it used to be. I mean, the days of like legitimate two-a-days are completely gone. We don't have that anymore. I'm curious, thinking back to your time as a player, your time as an assistant coach, how much of what you remember from camp as a player has kind of informed the way you've built camp now that you're in charge of the entire schedule? This is how we're going to do it. This is what we're going to try to get accomplished. Have you tried to kind of think back to what worked when you were a player?
I don't know particularly that. I'm not the oldest guy in the world here, so the training camps I was a part of were not drastically different than they are now today. I think I can remember having two-a-days, but they were not every single day. I think maybe at that time it was you could have a two-a-day, but the next day had to be a one-a-day or something like that. And both practices couldn't be in full pads, things like that. So I don't think it hadn't drastically changed. I think in general, players are staying in shape year-round much better than probably ever before, right, because of the strength and conditioning programs, all the resources invested in their year-round development. And so I think when you get to training camp, it's less about getting guys into football shape and prepared for the physical grind of the season as it is, really getting into the scheme, right? All the things you can do, because for the most part, your guys are pretty in shape when they come in to report for camp.
Coach, you've met with the media 3 times since camp has begun. I was there for 2 of them, and then yesterday I listened to your audio when we played it live on Thunder and Lightning. Nobody has asked you a question about Will Rogers yet, not one time. So I'm going to do it right here. What are you seeing from Will Rogers thus far in camp, and do you like the way he's acclimated to what y'all are doing offensively?
Yeah, Will's doing good. He's in control of the offense, right? He obviously going against the same defense every day, so then you can almost start to game plan the looks you're going against. So he's checking plays from one direction to the other. If he sees a certain defensive look, getting out of certain runs into a screen or a play action pass that can expose the weakness of the defense over the top, or a screen if they're blitzing. Audible routes if the coverage, the alignment of a DB gives an easier access throw to something else. And so he's showing good mastering and kind of control of the offense, what we're trying to accomplish. And, obviously he's got the production to prove it. He knows how to throw the football. He's pretty accurate with it. I mean, all the stats would say just that. And so we're really excited with what he's doing.
We've talked to a couple of your offensive linemen. We talked to Cam Jones and Cole Smith specifically, and they are both, I mean, to say that they're enthused about run blocking would probably be a little bit of an understatement. They're very excited about just getting out there, putting their hand in the ground, firing out, and being able to push guys where they want them to go. Do you sense that energy from the offensive line at practice? Are they enjoying this change to a little bit more of a run-based offense?
I don't know if it's – I'm not going to speak specifically to that. I noticed that energy is up in practice on either side of the ball when plays are being made, right? If the offense is moving the ball with explosive plays, whether it be throwing it or running it, that gets the energy up on everyone in offense. And when the defense is playing good defense and flying around, that gets the energy up on defense. And so, you're going back to that offensive line portion. If there is something that the defense – a weakness that we can expose, right? If you got a quarterback and really talented receivers and they can create plays in the pass game, so it forces defense to play more coverage, and that opens up lighter boxes with seams in there to create explosive run plays, well, then that's what we want to do. And vice versa. If we can run the ball well, efficiently, and it forces lower hats in the box and more bodies to stop the run, then that should play to our favor in creating explosive plays in the pass game between Will and his connection with our receiver group. Right? That's what we're trying to accomplish. And anytime we're doing any of those, that seems to be really good at getting the energy up and excitement up through all the offensive players.
Visiting with Zach Arnett, head football coach at Mississippi State. 6 days into camp. Today was the first off day, and kind enough to spend a few minutes with us this afternoon. Zach, when you think about the balance for needing to be physical in camp and needing to hit and needing to tackle to the ground some, I'm sure, with trying to keep your guys as healthy and as fresh because you know what the grind of a season is like, how do you balance those two to get the work done that you need on the physical side of the game, but also keep your team as healthy and as fresh as you can going into the start of the year?
Yeah, that's interesting. Actually, just got out before I got on this interview. I just got out of a meeting discussing just that. I think it's something you're constantly weighing the pros and cons. But yes, you got to play some live football. You got to scrimmage and tackle to the ground because how do you evaluate players, right? If they're going to be able to play for you and play live football on Saturdays if you don't do a little bit of it in camp. And then there are certain guys who've played football for you. You know what they can do. Let's take a Mookie Watson and a Jet Johnson on defense. Well, I got 13 games of film with them last year, and even more than that from the years before of playing live football in games. They're probably not going to get a whole bunch of live scrimmage reps, right? Likewise, let's say Woody Marks at tailback. I think it's a little bit of if you got a proven body of work in your career already, maybe it's not as necessary to get a whole bunch of live scrimmage reps with those guys. And you got any unproven guys, you got to see them play. How do you get better playing football? Well, you play football. And so that is the balance that every coach is constantly weighing out through training camp and as you get closer to the first game.
How many times will you guys scrimmage during camp between now and the start of the season?
Well, you're allowed 3 by NCAA rules.
Okay, so you get 3 of those, and then is there a limit? Is there a time limit, or you kind of are able to work within what you want to do in terms of a script of 100 plays or however many it is?
Yeah, you're capped at a certain amount of time that practice can be, right? And then I think the definition of a scrimmage by NCAA rules is maybe no more than 70% of those live periods of live tackling. I think is the definition of it. But I think any coach, if you ask any coach in football, there's more than enough opportunity to scrimmage. Because, again, like I said, for the most part, you kind of know who your guys are. When you got a returning veteran team, and you don't need a whole bunch of live football reps on those guys. So I don't think no one is having any trouble getting enough scrimmage reps as you go into the first game. Because like you said, season's long. There's always going to be nicks and bruises and come up. Right? You want to take a fresh, healthy team, fast team into the first game.
Zach, we appreciate your time so much. Know it's a busy time and means a lot that you spent a few minutes with you. Last thing, how many hours a night are you sleeping during camp? Is it more or less than 4?
Oh, I get a little more than that, yeah. Okay. I wish I was one of those guys who could operate on just 4, but I would say I'm probably pulling into the house sometime, between 11 and 12, and then getting out of the house around 6. So, okay. Yeah, I'm getting probably good 6 a night. That's plenty right now.
Good for you. Thanks so much for your time. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hail